Okay, my first ever make anything machine. Let's see how this thing works. So we got the line coming from the hub with the shape. It goes here to a filter, where anything that is not that shape gets thrown away. Anything that is that shape gets stored here. We have a manual dump here that I just haven't used in a while, but I just haven't thrown it out yet. So we have a button here I can use to turn on and off the factory, and it will display here the shape that we're going to be currently building. So right now it's set to that shape. Let's take a look down there so I can show you more of what I mean. Here's the basic overview. We have our controls and display. We have our top layer, layer 2, 3, 4. We have some shape stuff, some color stuff. We have our shape builder, our painter, and our final stacker. So down this way, we can actually toggle between different shapes because I wanted to make a make anything machine, so that means we can make more than just the hub shape. Right now I have programmed in there the blueprint. If we look down here, I have stored here a shape that we can change at any time, and we can just toggle between them with this button. So let's just do hub shape. I have an on-off button for the factory, which is actually replicated here up at the factory. If I turn that on, then it's making it there. The purpose of the on-off button is that it allows an easy way to halt production and purge the belt of excess stuff, just to make building the next thing easier. So there's trash cans throughout the area that helps do trash collection and purging of the lines, and so turning the level off helps to fix that. So if we turn it on, then this is the shape we're building. If I click that to be the blueprint would show up there, blueprint would show up here in its different layers. Just not going to do that right now. So let's take a look at the layers. Oh yeah, the quick circuit diagram for this is we have the blueprint and then also the hub shape, the line coming in from there. This toggle switch just says which one is going to go through the transistor into the layer here, and then that goes to the display here and then elsewhere. Alright, so bottom layer, or top layer technically, gets stripped out and goes to here, where it displays the 4 quadrants. We have a blank star, blue star, purple star, purple star. So it comes down, gets rotated a couple times, and so what we want to do is rotate the overall shape so that the appropriate corner is in the upper right, because that's how the analyzer works. Everything's in the upper right corner. And so that gets looped around to the other side, and then we get all 4 quadrants here. The next line, the next layer, goes up to here where it gets split again. Same thing, shows you the layer and the components of it. If there's a layer 3, that goes up this way, and if there's a layer 4, it goes up that way. I don't really need the transistor here. It just basically passes it along if it exists. I think I'd wanted to have some kind of truth statement attached to this, but that got scrapped. So these 2 lines go down to the final stacker. I'll show you how that works later on. So I have this thing split up so that way the green lines are my colors and the blue lines are my shapes. Alright, so here's my shape builder. We have the shapes based down at the bottom here. They get stored and then go into the machine. And you might have seen briefly, these are stored again for each level, helps to balance things out. So the shapes themselves, I found a natural circle that I have blown apart going into here. I have some pinwheels from a pinwheel maker I made earlier. Those are going up into here. I couldn't find any natural stars or squares, but there's a 50-50 here, so I'm just blowing those apart. Now you notice these are being consumed at different rates, and that means that the star pieces can very easily run out. So what I have to fix that is a little circuit here. There is a filter that goes to a trash, and it's set to the full indicator on the storage unit. So if this one is full, then it will activate this and allow pieces through. If this is not full, then it will activate the trash can and start dumping pieces. Likewise, this one is not full, so it's constantly turning this one on and off in order to activate the trash can and dump the square pieces. So what that does is, by dumping the square, then it allows the cutter to continue. That will generate both shape parts. So in doing so, if I turn off the factory, then this will level off until both are full with 5,000 pieces. So that's how I keep those auto-leveled. Alright, so the builder here, it's a basic kind of XY grid shape here, where we have the shapes coming in from underneath. We got circle, pinwheel, square, and star. And we have the shapes coming from the quadrants of the layer. So we have this top layer, it's all star. So every one of these is star. Every one of these is truthy with the star column, which means every one of these is spitting out star pieces. And then the parts continue on up, and then it continues on for each layer. That's why I have the balancer here, just to pass pieces on up, whereas others go into the belt. So now that we're at the belt, this is our initial stacker. So in order to prevent the stacker from getting clogged up if there's a segment missing, I have it set so that the top and the bottom are both cross-wired with each other. So we have the shape that's coming from the part going into an OR gate. If there's no shape, that shows up as 0. If there is a shape, it shows up as 1. If both of these are on, then both of the parts will be going into the stacker. If either one of these is off, then what it will do is deactivate the opposing belt and then send it down into a bypass. So if this is off, down into the bypass. If this one's off, down into the bypass. So if there's nothing here, they'll both be off, they'll both bypass, nothing will come out, who cares? Same thing on the bottom. If this is on, it'll allow that one through, or it'll bypass, and vice versa. Now both of these signals are tied together into an OR gate, which in turn is tied to an AND gate in the middle. So what this does is, if there's a piece coming at all from the top, whether it be a full piece or a segment, it'll go into the stacker and get stacked, or these both will in turn bypass and just continue on their way. Now I should note, each of these is a quadrant, so there's never going to be layering as an issue. It's more just having a single piece getting stuck in there. Also should note, because each of the pieces are stored as upper right, because that's how the analyzer works, we got the one that's in the lower left, we got to rotate 180. This one you got to rotate 90. This one counterclockwise 90. That way they're each in their correct orientation. So the pieces come past my ribbon cable down to the painting station. Here's one of the trash cans I talked about. This is activated by the on-off button. And these go down into the painter. So the paint station, the circuit works the same way as the shape builder, where we have our colors coming from the storage units that are referencing the colors for each of the quadrants, and the matching one sends the paint over, where it then gets painted. I have it scanning for null/gray sections by having a constant signal gray that checks for the color. This color is gray, that one is gray, so it's got an inverter here which will turn off that segment and it does not get painted. The other layers all have, so we got purple, we got blue, and we got purple. Yeah, purple, blue, purple. Those do not get painted, so that gets inverted and turned on, so these are painted. I made the ribbon cable here pinched together so that way the shapes could actually jump, otherwise there would be, a ton of tunnels, which I just didn't want to put. Alright, so these bottom ones come up and get stacked with layer 2. There's always going to be 2 layers stacked, so I didn't put any kind of protection circuitry in here. But what we got here is a filter. Remember back at the start I said there were those lines for layer 3 and 4 I'd talk about later? This is them. So there's nothing coming from this line, which means that the part gets kicked out onto the return belt. If there was a layer 3, then that signal would go into the OR gate, which would make a Boolean 1, which would turn this on. I don't want to have the shape going into here because then it'll kick out anything that's not the full shape. So what we want is to just say, alright, is the going to be on or off? So I just converted it Boolean using the OR gate here. So if there is a layer 3, it'll come into here and get stacked. More of those trash cans I talked about. If there's a layer 4, they'll get stacked and then get returned, or if not, it just returns to the belt feed here, back to the hub. And at the very top, because I just copy pasted everything, we have this beautiful pride menorah, which I'm just going to leave because it's a nice decoration. So we go back to the hub, and we have well, a bunch of parts stored up at this point. So then hit this button to dump them. Got a good, what was that, 35 second? I'm not there yet. And yeah, level trips. Let's have a look at this piece. Still just 2 layers, yep. So I can't really show you layer 3 or 4 unless I throw something in the shape builder, but that's how my machine works. Like I said, this is my initial version. Sure, there's ways I can optimize and improve it. If you got any comments, thoughts, just go ahead and throw them in the thread, or I guess even in the YouTube comments if you want. And all right, well, thanks for watching. Catch you later.